You sat slouched in your chair, squinting at the board while trying to make sense of the blurry diagrams your teacher was drawing. Frustrated, you stretched your hand to tap the shoulder of the tall boy sitting in front of you. Yeah, Sojun, you hissed, tugging lightly at his sleeve. Bend your shoulders. I can't see the bird. Sojun turned his head slightly, a smirk already forming on his lips. I can't do that, he said smugly. If you can't see the bird, Wine, maybe you should grow up. His words hit you like a punch in the stomach. Before you could even respond, the sneakers around you began. One, you should sit in the first row. Ria, the girl beside you, chimed in with a mischievous grin. Short people like you belong a friend. Or wait, maybe you should bring a stool next time. The laughter spread like wildfire across your section, each chuckle a jab at your already bruised confidence. You sank into your seat, biting your lip to keep the tears at bay. Their comments weren't new, being the shortest girl in class, standing at just 5 feet tall, had earned you endless teasing, but no matter how many times you shrugged it off, it still stung every single time. He sighed deeply, deciding to let the words slide, yet again, turning away from the giggles. You froze mid-motion, your breath hedged. Jungkook? The school's infamous Badboy Heartthrob and silent terror was staring right at you from the last row. His dark eyes bore into yours, unreadable and intense. You gulped your nerves, kicking into overdrive. Why is he looking at me like that? Did I do something wrong? Does he think I'm pathetic too? The thoughts stumbled in your mind as your habit kicked in. You started biting your nails. You glanced back at him, hoping his attention had shifted elsewhere, but no, Jungkook was still looking. His face was stoic, his expression calm, yet his gaze made your heart pound in your chest like a warning bell. Out of pure nervousness, you flashed him an awkward smile, a teeny hesitant curl of your lips, hoping to diffuse whatever storm he might be brewing in his head. But his expression didn't change, making you quickly whip your head back toward the bird. One, you mumbled to yourself under your breath, trying to shake off the nerves. What are you doing? Do you want to die today? No, no, don't look at him again. Focus on the bird, even if you can't see it. Determined not to glance back, you planted your hands firmly on your desk and kept your eyes forward. Still, the urge to check if he was still watching nagged at you. Curiosity finally won, and you peeked over your shoulder. He was still staring. But this time, something changed. The corner of Jungkook's lips twitched upwards just slightly. Was that a chuckle? No, wait. Jungkook, the cold and untouchable bad boy, was smiling at you? Your brain short-circuited. What does this mean? Is he mocking me too? Oh no, what if he joins in? Panic bubbled inside you, making you bite your nails harder. Sojun caught sight of your nervous visiting and leaned back slightly. What's wrong, Wine? Don't tell me you are scared of him now. He whispered teasingly, glancing towards Jungkook. You shook your head. I'm not scared. You lied, your voice barely above a whisper. Just focus on the bird. Jungkook meanwhile was aware of the whispers. The classmate seated beside him, clearly uncomfortable under Jungkook's looming presence, turned to look at him, confused by his sudden amusement. What? Jungkook asked coldly, his deep voice making the other boy flinch. Nothing. The boy stammered, shaking his head like his life depended on it. He quickly turned back to his notebook, scribbling furiously to avoid further confrontation. Jungkook's chuckle was barely audible, but you caught it, and it sent a chill down your spine. Was he laughing at you or at the guy beside him? You couldn't tell, and it only made your palms sweat. The bell rang, signaling the end of the period. You scrambled to pack your things, determined to escape their classroom before anything else could happen. As you stood, Jungkook's gaze followed your every move, his expression unreadable yet oddly soft. You dared one last glance at him before walking out. This time his gaze wasn't intimidating, it felt different, warm, maybe even amused, though you couldn't understand why. Your heart thudded in confusion and embarrassment as you walked down the hall, Jungkook's silent chuckle replaying in your mind. You left the classroom, your head low and your thoughts circling endlessly like a hamster on a wheel. Hugging your books tightly against your chest, you made your way toward your locker. Why am I so short? You thought miserably, staring down at the tile floor beneath your feet. Everyone makes fun of me, and it's not like I can magically grow taller overnight. Ah, will I ever get a boyfriend with this height? The idea weighed heavy on your mind, and a deep sigh escaped your lips. You imagined someone laughing softly in agreement with the taunts you heard every day. You didn't notice the tall figure walking toward you. Lost in your thoughts, you collided with them, your book slipping slightly from your grasp. Ah! You gasped, stumbling back as a voice low and smooth whispered above you. I'm here. Startled, you froze for a moment, your heart skipping a bit slowly. You looked up. Standing right in front of you was Jungkook. Your breath caught in your throat and your eyes widened in shock. What? You squeaked, your voice barely audible. You are my boyfriend. The words stumbled out before you could stop them. Jungkook's sharp brows furrowed and he leaned down slightly, his face dangerously close to yours. His eyes held an intensity that made your knees weak. I said I'm here, he corrected coldly, his tone laced with annoyance. Can't you see and walk? Oh, I'm sorry, you stuttered, heart rushing to your cheeks. As you nervously fiddled with the edge of your book, I wasn't paying attention, I was just thinking. His gaze stayed locked on yours for what felt like an eternity, making your heart race wildly in your chest. Finally, he straightened, towering over you. Next time, he said, his voice firm and commanding, be careful. When that Jungkook turned on his heel and started walking away, you stood frozen in your place, your brain trying to process what had just happened. Your hands trembled slightly as you adjusted the book in your arms. Am I crazy? You muttered softly to yourself, your voice barely above a whisper. Why would someone like him, someone that handsome, ever be my boyfriend? He's so tall and he'd definitely choose someone tall, not someone like me. You sighed again, shaking your head as you turned toward your locker. What was I even thinking? As you walked away, you thought the encounter was over, unaware of the piercing gaze following your retreating figure. Jungkook had stopped mid-step when your words reached his ears. His sharp hearing caught everything, the doubt, the self-criticism, and the insecurity laced in your tone. Turning his head slightly, he glanced over his shoulder. You didn't see the faint curve of his lips, the way the cold demeanor softened ever so slightly as he watched you disappear down the hall. Shot, he muttered to himself, his voice so quiet it blended into the noise of the bustling hallway. It's cute. With a small, almost imperceptible smile, Jungkook shook his head and continued walking, leaving you completely unaware of the effect you had on him. The sun dipped low in the sky as you burst into the house, your bag hanging lazily off one shoulder. Slamming the door behind you, shouted like a child, Mom! Mom! Your mother's voice echoed from the kitchen, tired and laced with slight irritation. What no one? I'm busy. Unfazed, you marched into the kitchen where your mom stood chopping vegetables. Why am I so short? You went, planting yourself firmly in front of her. Your mom paused mid-chop, glanced at you and raised an eyebrow. What kind of question is that? What happened now? It's all your fault, you accused dramatically, pointing a finger at her. Why didn't you give me taller jeans? At that, she let out a hearty chuckle, her tired face lighting up with amusement. You got your father's jeans. What do you expect me to do about it? Hmm? She replied, shaking her head. Oof. You folded your arms across your chest, stomping your foot lightly. You know, my friends insult me all the time because I'm the shortest in the class. It's not fair, Mom. Your mom set the knife down and turned to face you, her hands resting on her hips. It's okay, Vine. Don't take them seriously, she said soothingly, a warm smile spreading across her face. You're cute because you're short. With that, she reached out and pinched your cheek gently, which only annoyed you further. Mom, you groaned, anking your face away from her hand. Nobody thinks I'm cute, except for you and Dad. It's embarrassing. Your mom chuckled again, clearly entertained by your dramatic outburst. Oh, is that so? She teased. I mean, it, you said, leaning against the kitchen counter and pouting. I wonder how you even married Dad when he is so short, too. Your mom let out a full laugh this time, the sound rich and happy. Love is blind wine, she said with a playful wink. Your father may be short, but his heart is huge. He loves me more than anything, and honestly, that's all I ever needed. You frowned, your lips jutting out further in a childish pout. Ah, I feel jealous of you too. You muttered, crossing your arms. You found your true love, but what about me? Who is going to like a short girl like me? Your mom stopped laughing and looked at you with a softer expression. She reached out, placing a comforting hand on your shoulder. Don't say that, Ryan, she said gently. Someone is already out there for you, waiting to love you just the way you are. You rolled your eyes, still unconvinced. Yeah, right. Who would want me? A tall, handsome guy? Keep dreaming, Mom. Who knows? Your mom said with a knowing smile. Maybe some tall, handsome, and good hearted boy already has his eye on you. Don't be so disappointed. Life has a way of surprising us. You sighed deeply, still sulking. Whatever, you mumbled, turning your head away. Alright, enough of that now, your mom said, brushing off the conversation. Go grab me the ketchup. I need it for the sauce. Where is it? You asked, uncrossing your arms. On the upper shelf, she replied, nonchalantly pointing toward the cabinet. You froze, your annoyance bubbling up again. Mom, how am I supposed to get it? You asked, exasperated. Use the ladder wine, she said, matter of factly, already returning her attention to the vegetables. Use the ladder wine, she said, matter of factly, already returning her attention to the vegetables. Huff. You groaned loudly, throwing your hands up. I hate ladders, they just remind me of short. Stop complaining and get it already, your mom said with a chuckle, waving her hand dismissively. Mumbling under your breath, you grabbed the small step ladder from the corner of the kitchen and dragged it over to the cabinet. Stupid ketchup, stupid height. Why can't you just be on the counter like normal people do? Your mom glanced at you, her eyes sparkling with amusement as she watched you climb the ladder. Shorty, she teased playfully. Not funny, Mom. You snapped carefully, reaching for the ketchup bottle. As soon as you got it, you climbed back down and handed it to her, hopping in frustration. Here, happy now? Your mom just smiled warmly and took the bottle from you. Thank you, my little shorty. You groaned again, stomping out of the kitchen while she laughed behind you. Why does everyone in the house enjoy teasing me? You muttered to yourself, heading to your room. Unbeknownst to you, your mom watched you go with a fond smile. Funny wine, she whispered to herself. You'll see that being short is the least of your worries when someone falls for you. After freshening up, you headed to the dining table where your parents were already seated. Your mom had laid out a delicious spread, but you had something else on your mind. Mom, I feel like eating ramen tonight, you announced, flopping down in your chair. Your mom gave you a pointed look, her hands resting on her hips. What about this food? If you don't eat it, it will go to waste. You parted, glancing at your dad for backup. Dad, please say something to her. You pleaded, giving him your best puppy eyes. Your dad cleared his throat, his face softening as he turned to your mom. Shaggy, let her eat ramen just for today. She's had a long day. He said sweetly, using the affectionate term that always worked on her. Your mom's stern expression melted almost instantly. She sighed, muttering, you always do this to me. Then she turned to you and said, fine, but we are out of ramen. You'll have to get to the store and get it yourself. Ah, okay, you groaned, pushing back your chair and slipping into your flip flops. I'll go. At the store wasn't too far from your house, and soon you were walking through it, aisles, humming to yourself. You reached the ramen shelf and scanned for your favorite flavor. Your eyes lit up when you spotted it, but your excitement quickly faded. It was on the top shelf. Seriously? You muttered under your breath, standing on your tiptoes in an attempt to grab it. You stretched your arm as far as it could go, your fingers brushing against the packet, but it wasn't enough. Huff. You sighed in frustration, looking around for help. Spotting the shop owner, you called out, excuse me, can you help me reach that? The shop owner, who was sorting items a few feet away, looked up. Sure, one second, he said, starting toward you, but before he could reach you, a baby's cry rang out. Ah, my son is awake, he said apologetically. His mom left him with me. Let me check on him first. I'll be back. He paused as he hurried to the back of the store, leaving you alone with your unreachable famine. Great, you grumbled, glancing back at the shelves. Determined, you decided to try again. Standing on your tiptoes, you jumped, hoping to knock the packet down. Come on, almost there, you muttered, jumping higher. But luck wasn't on your side. On your third jump, you lost your balance. Ah, you gasped as you slipped, bracing yourself for the fall. Before you hit the ground, a pair of strong hands caught you from behind, steadying you effortlessly. Your heart pounded in your chest as you opened your eyes, startled. And there he was. Jungkook, the bad boy heartthrob of your school. Your eyes widened as you found yourself staring up at him. His sharp features, dark eyes, and towering height made your cheeks burn. He was looking down at you with his usual cool, unreadable expression. For a moment, neither of you said a word. You were too shocked, and he seemed in no hurry to break the silence. Finally, he let go of your shoulders, sitting you upright. His deep voice broke through the awkward atmosphere. What do you want? You blinked, still a little dazed. You pointed at the ramen packet on the top shelf, your hands trembling slightly. At one, without saying a word, Jungkook reached up and grabbed the packet with ease, handing it to you. Here, he said simply. You clutched the packet tightly, bowing your head. Hands splattered, your face burning with embarrassment. Without waiting for his response, you turned and hurried to the counter. You could feel his eyes on you the whole way, making your steps even clumsier. At the counter, you paid for the ramen as quickly as possible, avoiding any glance back at him. Let's just get out of here, you mumbled under your breath, clutching the bag tightly and rushing out of the store. Once outside, you exhaled deep breath, the cool evening air helping to calm your racing heart. That's so embarrassing, you muttered. Why does he have to be so tall? It just reminds me of how short I am. Inside the store, Jungkook was to leave, his hands in his pockets, a small, almost imperceptible smile tugged at the corner of his lips as he shook his head slightly. I don't know what's going on in her head, he muttered under his breath. Dropping his own items from the shelf, he made his way to the counter, still thinking about the clumsy short girl who had just walked out. The next day at school, you walked cautiously through the corridor, clutching your books tightly against your chest. Your mind was preoccupied with one goal, avoiding Jungkook. I need to be careful today. I don't want to run into him again, you thought, your eyes darting around to make sure the coast was clear. As you rounded a corner, your breath hissed. There he was, standing by his locker, leaning casually against it with his usual cold expression. You froze for a moment, watching him from a safe distance. Why does he always look so serious? You wondered, frowning slightly. Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Shaking your head, you quickly turned to your own locker, determined to stay unnoticed. Grabbing a random book to hide your face, you hurriedly walked away, keeping your head down. Once you reached your classroom, you sighed in relief. Safe, you mumbled under your breath, sliding into your seat. The teacher hadn't arrived yet, and the classroom was buzzing with chatter and laughter. You relaxed, smiling as you joined in the conversation with your friends. Did you finish the homework? One of them asked. Not yet, you admitted, laughing. I'll do it during the break. Just as you were starting to feel comfortable, the atmosphere in the room shifted. The chatter quieted slightly, and a few heads turned toward the door. You followed their gaze, and your heart sank. Jungkook had entered the classroom. Your smile disappeared instantly, replaced by nervousness. You quickly lowered your head, pretending to focus on the book in your hands. As Jungkook walked past, you could feel his presence like a heavy weight in the room. Why is he looking at me? You wondered, stealing a quick glance from under your lashes. He was indeed looking directly at you. Unable to meet his gaze, you stared at your desk, your heart pounding in your chest. Thankfully, Jungkook eventually made his way to his usual seat. You let out a quiet sigh of relief, trying to shake off. A few moments later, you turned to Surgeon, a classmate sitting in front of you. Surgeon, can you sit down properly? I can't see the board, you said, gesturing to his hand posture. Surgeon turned around with a teasing grin. Why do you care? You're so short, you wouldn't be able to see even if I sat straight. His words stung and your cheeks burned with embarrassment. You opened your mouth to retort, but no words came out. Instead, you lowered your head, trying to hide your hurt expression. Before you would say anything, a deep voice interrupted. Get up. You looked up, startled. Jungkook was standing next to you, his dark eyes fixed on you. What? You stammered, unsure of what was happening. Get up, he repeated, his tone firm but not harsh. You hesitated for a moment before slowly standing, your hands clutching the edge of your desk nervously. Without a word, Jungkook placed a sturdy pillow on your chair. The action caught everyone's attention, and the room fell silent as they watched the scene unfold. There, he said simply, motioning for you to sit down. Confused and embarrassed, you sat back down, now perched slightly higher thanks to the pillow. Jungkook walked back to his seat, his expression unreadable. The classroom erupted into whispers. What just happened? Did Jungkook really do that for her? Is he making fun of her or helping her? Your cheeks burned as you felt the weight of everyone's eyes on you. A few students stifled laughter, and their quiet snickers only deepened your embarrassment. Why did he do that? You wondered, your heart sinking. Was he trying to humiliate me in front of everyone? You turned to look at Jungkook, hoping hoping to find some clue in his expression. To your surprise, he was looking back at you with a gentle smile. But you didn't feel like kindness, it felt like mockery. Is he smiling because he thinks this is funny? You thought bitterly, lowering your gaze. You felt a lump form in your throat, but you swallowed it down, determined not to let anyone see how upset you were. For the rest of the class, you avoided looking in Jungkook's direction, focusing instead on the book in front of you. Meanwhile, Jungkook sat quietly at his desk, oblivious to misunderstanding. She probably thinks I was making fun of her, he thought, sighing inwardly. Why does this always happen? The classroom noise eventually returned to normal, but the moment lingered in your mind as the teacher entered and began the lesson. You resolved to avoid Jungkook even more from now on. The days following Jungkook's mysterious gestures were anything but normal. Everywhere you went, it seemed like he was there. He helped you carry books, pick things you dropped, and even open doors for you, all without you asking. However, instead of feeling grateful, you couldn't shake the thought that he was doing it to mock you. Is he trying to show everyone how helpless I am? You often wondered, frustration bubbling inside you. One day you were walking down the school corridor, clutching a stack of books. The weight made your arms ache, and your vision was partially blocked by the pile. Suddenly you collided with someone. You exclaimed as your books tumbled to the ground with a loud thud. Looking up, you saw Mia, the most popular girl in school, standing in front of you with an irritated expression. She crossed her arms and raised an eyebrow. Watch where you're going, Shati, she snapped, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at your forehead. You flushed with embarrassment but quickly said, I'm sorry, but don't call me Shati. Mia let out a dramatic laugh and turned to her friends. Did you hear that? The Shati is getting angry. She mocked, and her friends giggled in agreement. You clenched your fists and tried to leave, but Mia stepped in front of you, blocking your way. Where do you think you're going, Shorty? She taunted. Let's have some fun. Your patience finally snapped. I'm not a toy to have fun with, you yelled, your voice shaking with anger. Mia smirked and grabbed your cheeks roughly. You are a toy to me, she sneered. Do you even know who I am? I'm the school trustee's daughter, and you think you can yell at me? Pain shot through your cheeks and tears began to form in your eyes. You felt utterly helpless. Just as you were about to say something, someone grabbed Mia's head from behind, making her shriek in pain. The corridor fell silent as everyone turned to see who dared to challenge her. It was Jungkook. His cold expression was even more intimidating than usual as he stared down at Mia. You're not allowed to trouble someone like this, he said firmly, releasing her hair. Mia, ever the drama queen, started to wail. Jungkook, how can you do this to me? She cried, clutching her hand. But Jungkook ignored her and walked over to you. He placed his hands gently on your shoulders and asked, Are you alright, Ryan? You stepped back, shrugging off his hands. Why did you come again? To help me? You asked, your voice laced with frustration and pain. Ryan, listen, Jungkook started, but you cut him off. Did I ask for your help? You said, your voice raising. For days you have been doing these things, putting pillows on my chair, hitting my book, smiling at me, and now this. Why? To prove I'm weak in front of everyone? Why that's not. You were not giving a chance to speak. Enough, Jungkook. You interrupted again, tears streaming down your face. I'm done with all the insults. Friends who are supposed to support me make fun of my height. People like her. You guys stared angrily at Mia and her friends. Find weakness to be called, use against others, and you act like you're helping, but you're only making me feel worse. The words poured out of you in a torrent of frustration and pent up emotion. Jungkook tried to speak, but you didn't give him a chance. You have been humiliating me in front of everyone, and I have had enough. The corridor was dead silent as everyone watched the scene unfold. Then, without warning, Jungkook stepped forward, kept your face in his hands, and kissed you. Your eyes widened in shock. For a moment, you were too stunned to move, but as the kiss deepened, you found yourself melting into it. Your emotions swirled in confusion and something new, something wrong. When Jungkook finally pulled back, he looked into your eyes and said softly but firmly, I love you, Wan. Your jaw dropped. What? Yes, he said, his voice steady. I love you. I wasn't insulting you. I just didn't want the girl I love to feel insecure about her height. Actually, I like you because you're short. It's cute, you know. You blinked, still trying to process his words. Around you, whispers spread through the crowd of students. Are you serious? You finally managed to ask. Instead of answering, Jungkook crossed down, wrapped his arms around your legs, and lifted you into the air effortlessly. Yes, I'm serious, he said, looking up at you with a soft smile. I love you, Wan. And I promise you will never feel insecure about your height again because I love every bit of you even your height. Tears welled up in your eyes again, but this time they were a mix of happiness and disbelief. If you like me, then prove it, Jungkook said with a teasing glint in his eyes. Kiss my forehead. I have always had this fantasy of my girlfriend kissing me like this. Your heart raced. You had always admired Jungkook from afar, but you never thought he could feel the same way. Now, hearing his genuine confession, you felt your walls crumbling. He chuckled softly, leaned down, and pressed a gentle kiss to his forehead. I love you too, you whispered. Jungkook's face lit up with joy. He whirled around, his laughter echoing through the corridor. When he finally set you down, he pulled you close to his chest, wrapping his arms protectively around you. Then he turned to face the crowd, his expression hardening. This is my first and last warning, he announced, his voice firm. If anyone makes fun of her height again, I swear I'll deal with you myself. Mia and her friend shrank back, their faces pale. The other students exchanged uneasy glances, but no one dared to speak. Taking your hand, Jungkook led you away from the scene. As you walked beside him, your heart felt lighter than it had in years. For the first time, you realized your mom's words were true. There really was someone out there who loved you just the way you were, and that someone was Jungkook. Thank you for watching.